ايه هذا impede the flow of neural information through a network of neurons. These synapses, cartooned here, are the junctions of one neuron communicating with another neuron. Now remember, a single neuron on average in the brain would have 10,000 or so these junctions. One neuron would connect to approximately 10,000 or so other neurons at each of these junctions. What's important about the junctions is that they allow an exchange of chemicals, shown here as a little green balls. These are neurotransmitters that can be released from what we call the presynaptic neuron onto the postsynaptic neuron. The postsynaptic neuron has proteins, what we would call receptors, that upon receiving the neurotransmitter change the activity in the postsynaptic cell and can make that cell more or less likely to move, to use the analogy of traffic, and specifically more or less likely to generate an electrical discharge. So what's important to recognize is these different interactions can be regulated. What I'm going to now describe for you is some experiments that we've done in our laboratory that show that the experience, in particular cognitive experience, the manipulation of knowledge, leaves a substantial detectable difference, if you will, in the set of changes in the neural system that we're studying within the synaptic organization of the brain. And we'll focus on the hippocampus, which is a hub for storing memories. And this is the work that's been done in my laboratory as well as my collaborator with Todd Sacker, and in particular, really truly heroic work by Dr. Pilot Sokas. So the hippocampus, this might be a part of the brain that you've heard about because it's crucial. In the analogy, it's a hub for not only forming and storing but processing memory. And so here's an animation that will help orient as to where the hippocampus is. This is a mouse, and imagine slicing through the mouse's brain, and the structure in the middle that's delineated by the dark cells there, on one side and the other, that's the hippocampus. And that's the part of the brain that we're going to study. We're going to study and talk about the neurons and the synapses in this part, this region of the brain. We're going to need the animals or our subjects to actually form memories and communicate that they form those memories to us. And so this is a task that we're going to use called the active place avoidance task. You can see here a mouse on a grid floor. And the mouse, you'll notice, is staying down near, 6 o'clock, so of this the clock face, and it's staying away from the area that's been highlighted red. Now the area that's highlighted red is highlighted red for you and me. The mouse doesn't see red. What the mouse can do is look around, see where it is in the room, and recognize that if it goes into the area that's been indicated by red for you and me, the floor will become electrified. And that's why the mouse is spending all this time away from that area. So it's a rather simple task for the animal to learn to stay out of that red zone, and it does so by being active and walking away. That's why we call it the active place avoidance task. And while the mouse can't speak to us and say, oh yeah, I remember I was shocked over there, what it can show us through its behavior is that it's, for some reason, staying away from that area. And the natural inference would be because it has remembered that it was shocked in that area. So we can use this task to assess and to quantify and measure the extent to which the mouse remembers where it was shocked. And while doing this task, what we can do is record neuronal activity, shown here in cartoon form. Imagine 15 cells, and each tick corresponding to the discharge, the electrical discharge of a single neuron in the hippocampus. What's shown down below in green is a slice through the hippocampus of a mouse after it has learned this task. And this mouse has been genetically engineered such that the neurons that were active in a strong manner while the animal was learning this task are now green. So we can recognize there are a couple of things to notice. Not all cells are green. Only about 30 or maybe even fewer percent of the cells are green. And the allocation of the green cells is not homogeneous in the structure. We won't talk about the anatomical defines, but you can notice that some places green cells are more dense than others. So different regions of the hippocampus as a neural circuit activate and allocate different numbers of cells to form the memories that this mouse is forming and what to use in order to organize where it goes in space and presumably remember where it's shocked. Well, we might now ask, that was an easy question to answer. We might now ask, how do the neurons remember whether or not they should be active? And in order to study that, what we understand is that the synapses, the connections between the neurons, these are the things that actually differ, and they can change with experience. That's the dominant hypothesis for answering the question, how do the neurons remember whether or not to be active for one memory or another? And now let's talk a little bit about neurobiology, some of the findings that support that point of view. The story begins with an important paper by my colleague, Todd Sacker, where he identified a particular molecule called protein kinase M zeta, PKM zeta. What he was able to show is that it's necessary and sufficient for something called WT-makers. What's cartooned here is if you were able to take a measurement of the electrical activity of a single one of these neurons in the hippocampus, what you would see is and measure is how easy is it for that cell to generate an electrical current. What we see here shown on the x-axis is time, and on the y-axis is showing the amount of current that could be measured from across a pair of these cells. What you see is that if one of them starting at 9, the current is going up, and then it's stabilizing. It takes about 10 minutes to go up. knocking out the gene, TTM zeta, in the mice looked pretty normal. They remembered. Well, so that led these authors to conclude that TTM zeta was not crucial for long-term memory or LUT, and that in fact our inhibitor must have been acting on something else. So this is the nature of science, and what is interesting about science is that it breeds controversy. And with controversy, it breeds further investigation. Very recently, we explained how it is possible that by deleting the gene, you could still observe that there would be normal learning and memory, when in fact that gene is indeed crucial for learning and memory.